Guys and dolls. So, absolutely amazing day in Scotland. Everywhere is white, apart from the forest. But everywhere outside of here is white. Wee bit of protection in the forest. But really cool, brisk, but beautiful. Absolutely amazing day. Tulip's having a good time, as usual. And just want to come on and talk about a few things that's going on in the world right now that are causing me a wee bit of concern. But I'm going to start off by saying that hats off to Paz 49 once again for, I think, calling it as it is. You know, if you haven't seen, if you just go and see his last video that he's put up about Starmer and everything it's been saying about him, and I think he's right. I think it's a smokescreen. I really do. And yeah, so we got to understand what's going on, right? So let's have a look at it from what we know. All right. So we know there's a guy. And I've got to be very careful, right? I've got to be very, very careful. So I really need you to sort of understand the way I'm talking. I've got to be careful. So what we do know is that there's a guy in prison for saying, I don't care what anybody says, he's definitely a Muslim. And he's in prison for that, right? Now, that would be like saying, let's put it another way. So imagine I done something crazy and Paz went online and goes, don't care what anybody says, Freedom Dad is a Christian. And they put Paz in prison for that. So that's the comparison. In my opinion, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. My opinion, and it's how I see things, okay? Now, quite a lot of you have known quite a lot for quite a long time, because you've got to understand there's people on the ground that live there, right? But you've also got to understand, if you followed the case with Bailey and what Bailey went through and how the government tried to make that young guy out to be some sort of angel when he wasn't, and it was proved in court that everybody was silenced, then you've got to ask yourself, could this happen again? Is there teachers being silenced? Is there kids being silenced? I wonder. Could it? Would it? Would the government do that again? Why would the government do that? Pretty crazy questions, you know what I mean? I know, but it's just my opinion and me just crazy. Yeah, I have crazy thoughts. So there's a lot, like I say, that I can't say. And it's a wee bit strange to me why this is happening. And it's really, 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 really scary. Guys, it really is. Is this the way we're going to live from now on? Being kept totally lied to? Are we going to be lied to every time something happens? And why? Why? Sorry, I'm just trying to get used to the camera. It's holding it out like that. I know, well, I got a wee stick. Amber got me a wee stick, but it's wobbling. Like, I did one video and it was just shaking the whole way through it. I have sellotaped it, but it doesn't seem to be working. Still seem to be doing that. But, you know, this is really serious, guys, and we've got to ask some serious questions here. You know, it seems that everybody knows what's going on around where this guy lived, but nobody else they're not allowed to tell anybody else. And that's what's going on. And then we hear Nigel Farage coming out and saying what he said. He said that he has been silenced. He knows so much, but he can't say. And he says it's really, really bad. You know? I've known it's been really, really bad. And I know everybody's been silenced for ages. And it's in a situation where you can't really talk about it. But I just want to say, like, Paz, fair play to him. Because I've seen everybody jumping on the bandwagon. I've seen everybody going down that road and like, following exactly the carrot. Basically it's a carrot that the government are feeding out these and are all running behind it. It's nuts. But Paz 49 is calling it. I'm telling you, he's calling it. If you watch his video, it's not my place to tell you about his videos. It's the whole point, you know, and I know most of you follow him anyway, but if he's missed, just jump on there and grab the last one he's done. And think about what he's saying, you know. You got to understand, he can't say certain things. He's restricted. And you have to read between the lines, you know what I mean? He can't say, listen, this is what I think, or this is what, you know. There's all many different reasons, you know what I mean, that he can't. And it is difficult doing YouTube things, you know what I mean? Trying to stay in between the lines and whatnot. You know, I'm just telling you what everybody else is talking about in the street. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you anything that, you know, I'm not trying to cause any division or hatred or anything to do with this case. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, whatever it is going to come out in court, surely. Or is it? You know, you got to ask these questions. How far are they going to go? It's getting silly. It's getting absolutely ridiculous. It really is, guys. Trying to work out where that camera is. Yeah, it's getting really ridiculous, like. And another thing I need to say, guys, is and you need to pay close attention to America right now, because they're wanting to give Ukraine long-range rockets to hit Russia. And I have said this all along, that this is what they're going to do. They're going to start a war, because if there's a war, then they can't have a changeover of presidents. You know. And I've said this all along. This is what I've worried about. You know what I mean? I've worried that one, Trump isn't going to get there alive. Two, I thought they were going to rig the elections, which they did, but they just didn't realise there was that many people going to be voting anyway. They were expecting, if they were rigging it for 3 or 4 million, 5 million. Because that's how I thought it was how close it was going to be. But even with the 3-5 million that they rigged, my opinion, what I'm hearing on the streets from America, is that, yeah, definitely there was foul play. And it never worked out for them, because it was overwhelming. They couldn't control it. And now they're talking about giving Ukraine long-range weapons. And what you got to understand, guys, if we, Britain, our government, are wanting to give them long-range weapons as well, the only reason we never done it is because we were waiting for America to do it. Britain was wanting to do it months and months and months ago. And you've got to understand the implications of this, you know. People don't understand what everybody thinks about nuclear war. Everybody's got it in their head about nuclear war. You need to get that out of your head. The days of nuclear war are over. They've learnt their lesson. They see the damage it does. Chernobyl and any other nuclear disaster, they see the damage it does to the ground. And they know there's no point laying waste to ground like that. They need to lay waste to people, not the ground. And I promise you, they've got weapons now that can lay waste to the ground, the people on the ground, but leave the ground relevantly undamaged. I promise you, right? People don't know about it. They want you all thinking this nuclear war, this is the way it'll be. It's not going to be anything like people think. And Tulip, where you going? She's chasing some squirrel. But no, it's really worrying. I don't know what we can do, you know what I mean? But if they give them long-range weapons going to Russia, we are in trouble. There's no two ways about it. They're in trouble to start with. You know, God knows what Putin will do to Ukraine if they do that. And then what do we do after that? You know, that'll trigger us into doing something. And yeah, it's quite worrying. And it would sort out a lot of problems, wouldn't it? A war that would wipe out people. Like, you know, let's imagine that they've got a bomb and they can drop it right in the sea next to any coastline, and they'll take out hundreds of miles of ground with the wave it creates. The infrastructure wiped out, everything wiped out. People wouldn't survive that unless you're on really high ground. And then even at that, everything would be wasted. It would recover eventually, but it would be wasted. Wouldn't be sustainable for a few months probably. You know, the amount of pollution and stuff like that, it would just be phenomenal. And there is a weapon like that, guys, you know. And it's I don't know why more people don't talk about it, and why we aren't talking about that weapon, you know what I mean? It's worrying. And it is worrying because the benefits from it would solve all the immigrant crisis that's going around the world. The problem, because it's a problem, you know. None of the Muslim countries are taking these guys in. They're all shutting their borders, you know. So and then you got like Britain and America opening their borders, you know. So they're basically puts them all into one area. Let's be honest, you know. If they wanted to take out anything like that, they could just go bump, and it would be done, and we would just be casualties of war. Us lot, you know. That's just like my opinion and what I think, and you know, obviously it would never happen. You know, nothing like that would ever happen. It's just for entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? But Yeah, I think there's a lot more to things than things that we're not getting told, and I think they've got weapons that we just have no clue about, really. You know, they've got this laser weapon that can hit a pound, and it costs a pound coin from miles at like a very long distance. I'm not going to commit myself here. Really, 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 really good weapon, and they can one shot cost a tenner basically. You know, so that's a game changer. You know what I mean? Um, I've seen it. I've seen it in action. I don't know why it's not out there at the minute, but I imagine it will be soon. I reckon there's quite a lot of stuff sitting. They're sitting, holding on to quite a lot of stuff, waiting in case there is a war. And then they're going to go da-da. And I think we're all going to be pretty much amazed at what we see. That's what I think, like. Hopefully Trump gets in and he calms everything down, and we get rid of Labour, and hopefully then we can mend our country. We can get a band-aid on it straight away to stop the bleeding, and then start working on what the problems are and try and get everything back to normal. Start looking after our own people, our old people and our young, you know. The basic care that every country should have for their most vulnerable. We need to get that back because we've lost it. We genuinely have lost it, guys. You just don't realise it. You know, you mightn't have any vulnerable people around you right now, but I promise you one day you will. And that's when you're going to realise. You know, the most vulnerable people are being totally left out because there's nothing. They don't vote. They're not. Most of them won't vote. You know, the young, the old, they give up. The young don't care, and the old give up. So they don't mean nothing to the government, and this is why they suffer. And they're suffering so many different ways. But the biggest impact for both vulnerable groups is abuse. And I'm telling you, you've got sexual abuse on one end with the young ones, and you've got physical abuse and other types of abuse on the other end, because people that care for them don't care for them. I'm telling you now, we're because we're charging so little per hour for these people to work. Our people are not working, and they're just bringing in the people who do the jobs that we don't want. You know, and you got to remember that's what the government say. They're here to do the jobs that we don't want, which is fair enough. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that they're all bad, you know. I'm just saying that to care, for a lot of people, they really care. They need to really care about the people in front of them. And I'm not saying that these people are not, there is caring people in the world. You've got to understand this. But I've seen with my own eyes, you know, when you pay people a minimum wage, they do a really difficult job. They're going to do a minimum job. I'm telling you now. There is good, and of course there is amazing carers. I vouch for them. I've seen them. Local girls that started looking after my mother-in-law. 6 years we had carers coming in twice a day. 3 different companies. Please believe me, I know what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about personal experience, right? My personal experience with my mother-in-law's words were the most care she got was from the local girls that lived in the area. I promise you, absolutely amazing. And I've seen the difference straight away, you know. And so it led to me the conclusion that they need some people. I'm not talking about people coming from different countries. I'm talking about people just coming from different areas. Maybe Irish people, maybe English people. You know, I honestly believe that you need your own people to look after our old, because they're the only ones that understand them. They're vulnerable people. I think we should uncover every rock. We should not let anything go or not let anything hold us back. No political correctness. No scared to offend people. This is our most vulnerable, and we must stop being afraid to offend people because we just want to protect them. And when we start being afraid to protect these people, people stop speaking. You start silencing people, and these people suffer. Because nobody is allowed to speak up for want of being called a racist or a bigot or far right, and then you start getting barred from places, as you have seen with me, you know. And this is the problem. This is why there's nobody fighting these corners for these people, because they're getting silenced over and over again because people don't like to hear the truth. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm not on a soapbox shouting hatred. I'm telling you about my life and what my life's been like, and that's what this YouTube channel's all about. And I don't apologise if you don't like what you hear. You know, I can't help that. But I'm not going to lie and cover things up just to appease people. I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, stay close attention to America. Keep your eye on the Southport carry on. A lot to come. The bus stuff's gone a wee bit quiet, but I am keeping an eye on it. As soon as I hear anything about the headless guy in Edinburgh that got his head thingied off of the bus, I'll bring that straight to you. We might be waiting a wee while for that information to come out, but whenever they decide to tell the truth, I will bring that straight to you as well. God bless every one of you.